Hello everyone, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the Business Today Mindrush Best CEO Awards one of the brightest stars of the Narendra Modi government, Minister Piyush Goyal. Can we have a warm round of applause to welcome him, please? Minister Goyal has just come back after arguing India's case at two high-profile international events, the World Trade Organization Ministerial Meet in Geneva, and right before that, the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. And hopefully, he'll give us a sense of what the world is thinking of the India story at this moment. Piyush ji has come to the Mindrush Awards straight from the nomination of the NDA candidate for the next president, Draupadi Murmu. In fact, everybody else was still there, but because he'd committed, so he's come, and we are delighted to have him as the chief guest to give away the Best CEOs Awards. This is the 10th time that Business Today is organizing the Best CEO Awards. The idea really is not just to assemble people, but to get them to reflect, learn, as the credo of Business Today goes, rebrain or rot, upskilling, learning new things, which is why we have in our midst world-renowned management gurus like Ramcharan ji, like the HPS professor who will be here in the evening, like Narayan Murthy ji, and all the fantastic speakers we've assembled who will give us a sense of how they see emerging technologies shape the world. I want to thank all the award winners who've come in from different parts of the world. We're so thankful that the pandemic is almost behind us and you could join us from different parts, from the UK, the US, different parts of India, even Africa, making the effort of coming here. We deeply appreciate that. Before we begin the award ceremony, can I get Minister Piyush Goyal to give us his keynote address on how India can come out on top in this VUCA world? So much volatility, so much uncertainty. How can India ride this VUCA wave and come out on top? Can we have a round of applause for Minister Piyush Goyal, please?
Thank you very much, Rahul. Thank you very much, Arunji, Raj, all the friends from the India Today group for giving me this opportunity to engage with such an illustrious group of friends, if I may say so. And thank you very much to all the business leaders for all that you have done for this country. Because truly when we are out there talking about India, we are both encouraged and we get a lot of energy from the wonderful work that all of you are doing. And it's truly amazing to see the resilience of the Indian business community, the business world. It's truly very, very heartening to see our MSME sector, different infrastructure sectors, all coming up to speed in the most difficult of times, the VUCA times, as Rahul just rightly pointed out. And therefore, it's truly a delight to be a part of today's event honoring the best CEOs in the country. I'm very happy that Business Today also completes about 30 years now. Milestone event for the organization. 10 years of Mindrush, I'm given to understand. And 10 years of recognizing the very best that we have seen in the country. My heartiest congratulations to all the CEOs who have been recognized today for their contribution to the Indian economy, for their contribution to growth, for their contribution to job creation, for helping build the India story, both in India and across the world. Of course, while we are recognizing many of the top CEOs today, over the years, we've seen the India Today group on different occasions at different platforms, truly encouraging the business community and in some sense also becoming the voice of India across the world. And I'm sure that this very healthy partnership between the media, between government, between industry, that's what really defines and differentiates India from many other parts of the world. At both the occasions that Rahul just mentioned, whether it was at Davos or it was at the World Trade Organization Ministerial. I think we saw a huge blend of collective thinking coming to the fore. We saw India at its very best. Everybody put their business or political, in fact, media rivalries also to rest. Everybody spoke in one voice. Everybody spoke the India story. Everybody articulated the huge achievements that all of you collectively have demonstrated over the years. And I think that is really the factor which helped us be very successful, both at Davos, where you were yourself present, and also at the WTO MC12 meetings just concluded last week. So a big thank you to our friends from the media, from the India Today group. Big thank you to all friends from industry. And of course, I think it's also a moment to celebrate the fact that the leadership that India today has and demonstrates across the world is getting recognized as a leadership that is not only very, very sensitive, but a leadership that reflects the voice of large sections of the poor, the vulnerable, the less developed countries, the developing nations. And I think we can all be collectively proud that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has changed the image of India. As many people who meet me in different occasions tell me that our passport today is getting recognized and respect across the world. And I think that's something which truly calls for a celebration for all Indians, that finally India's voice is becoming a powerful voice in the world, and India's passport, India's citizenship, the fact that we are all collectively working for a better tomorrow for 135 crore Indians is being seen, is being heard, and is being valued throughout the world. In fact, through the COVID pandemic and now in very turbulent times that the geopolitical situation has thrown up, our Indian business has met all international commitments and brought honor to the country. I remember at the G20 summit in Rome towards the end, in November 2021, the Honorable Prime Minister spoke about the fact that we quickly rejigged all our business processes, particularly in the services sector, and we made sure that not a single commitment that we had made to any other part of the world, to any corporate, to any country, was ever let down. Our service sector, for example, many of them running back offices, many of them running outsourced operations in India, worked round the clock. They moved quickly to their homes. Fortunately, in 2015, we had started the Digital India campaign, due to which across the country, wherever people may have been, in the mountains of Uttarakhand or maybe at Alibag, because I know a lot of Indian business persons worked out of Alibag during those days, everybody had good digital connectivity. In fact, broadband connectivity was provided in mission mode to all those who needed it. And not for a second did Indian business fall in any commitment that was made internationally. And that truly earned us the credit as a trusted partner of the world. And that credit will be something that will hold us in good stead as the world moves to look for newer and newer destinations. There are many countries which are currently out of favor, and many companies which are looking to move to newer destinations for more resilient supply chains, for more easier ways of doing business, more transparent economies. And I think we are absolutely perfectly poised to be that alternate destination. The answer to VUCA, if I may, Rahul, would probably be Yuva, our Yuva Shakti. The fact that we today represent a young population, the fact that today, wherever we go and wherever we talk, they are really amazed at some of the work that our young boys and girls are doing. Every engagement at Davos with any top corporate, one of my questions used to be, what is it that attracts you to India? Is it our competitive costing, pricing? Is it the large market alone? But invariably, every one of them spoke about massive expansion plans in India, particularly expansion in areas related to technology. And each one of them marveled at the unique skills, at the fantastic skill sets that our young boys and girls bring to the table. Almost all of them were more interested in our young science graduates, our maths graduates, our people engaged in the electronics and electrical industry. It was more the fact that you are producing amongst the highest number of STEM graduates anywhere in the world. And that's what we are really looking to come to India to engage with, to benefit from. And I do believe that that is something that all of us in this room recognize, all of us in this room see the opportunity amidst a lot of global turbulence, where India can move up the value chain, India can go beyond just an affordable supplier to a quality supplier, to a supplier of high quality, high-tech products, high-tech services. And the fact that we have an open, very, very forward-looking, more predictable and stable regulatory policies coming in, transparent economy, everything we do is what we say. And everything we say, we do. There's no double thinking in any part of the country today. And at Davos, we saw all the parties of different political hues from different states talking in one language, talking about India first. And that, I think, was a very big differentiator of this summer World Economic Forum meeting compared to any time in the past. The business community spoke in one voice, the political community spoke in one voice, and the media actually promoted the India story. They promoted the fact that we've had the highest ever exports, both in goods and services, in the COVID period. About 675 billion plus of exports of goods and services. That's nearly 50 lakh crore rupees. It's something that was not imagined for many years. And I'm not very sure if any of you had imagined that we'll cross that cusp of 400 billion on goods and 250 billion on services even this year. But we did not only achieve that, we topped it and went to 675. Our FDI has been on a roll for the last 7 years in a row. We've broken every record, one after the other. Our foreign exchange reserves, I was reading the RBI governor's statement only this morning, that the macroeconomic situation that India presents today is absolutely strong. We go with huge foreign exchange reserves. We are able to take effective steps to curb inflation. He's very confident that another few months and we'll see both inflation tapering down. I just had a conversation with him day before yesterday. He's very bullish on the growth story, convinced that collectively between monetary policy and fiscal policy, and both working in tandem this time around. After a long time, we are facing a situation like we are facing today. I would think it's about similar to what we first saw in 2008, 7, 8, 9, that period of the global financial crisis. India went through the triple tantrum in 2013 again, when we had a serious crisis on various fronts, our current account deficit, our foreign exchange reserves, growth slowing down. There was clearly a very serious crisis on our hands on both these occasions. Currently, after about 8 or 9 years, we've reached almost a situation where the world is facing very serious challenges. And within that, India is seen to be an kind of an oasis in the entire economic landscape. I'm sure with the kind of enthusiasm I see, both in other parts of the world, we've had 2 FTAs with UAE and Australia. The Australia one came as a surprise to many because most thought India can't really engage with developed worlds. We did that literally in under 90 days. I remember though we launched in September and possibly in the same hotel. It's a little bit of a lucky place for me, when we talk about FTAs. But Narendran, please don't mind it. But truly, when we launched in September, there was that Omicron wave that came in and then Christmas, so we didn't get much traction. I remember a VC around 4th of January when the then Minister for Trade and I decided that let's give it a shot on a daily basis. And it was actually a situation where we worked round the clock. Through the day, officials would be working. I normally sleep late, so my last call before I would sleep late night would be a time when he would be up in the morning in Australia. And we would sort out anything that was not on track during the day in that midnight call or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning in India. And we would sort out issues as they came. And on 2nd of April, we were ready to sign. We did a historic agreement after many years with a developed nation. The Prime Minister of UK is on record that he wants us to complete by Diwali the UK free trade agreement. I had a bilateral with my Canadian counterpart on the sidelines of MC12 at Geneva. And we had a full-fledged discussion on our FTA. And they are insisting that they want to do it faster than UK, which I suspect now is impossible because my teams are stressed out. The negotiating teams just don't have any more bandwidth. And within that, we've launched on Friday last week the formal negotiations with EU. Today is Friday. Yesterday, their teams have already landed. The EU teams have landed in New Delhi. And preliminary discussions are going on as we speak. Monday, formal negotiations with the EU start. On the sidelines, I had Switzerland talking to me, wanting their group of 4 countries to do an FTA. I still remember at Davos 4 years ago, when I had approached Switzerland, and they gave me a lukewarm response. This time around, we've had 2 meetings at Davos and on the sidelines of MC12, where they are persuading that India should seriously consider a FTA with that group of 4 countries. I think it's EFTA or something. We have Kazakhstan talking to me that Eurasian countries are keen to negotiate with India. For the last 4 months, I've been already under pressure from the GCC group of 6 countries, UAE plus 5 more, who want to conclude an FTA with India. You make your own guesses what that represents, what that reflects. It's your strength. They want to do business with all of you. They want to expand investments and trade with all of you. The choice is ours. Are we sitting in our comfort zone or are we looking to grab this opportunity? An opportunity doesn't knock again and again. It's those who can dream big. It's those who can see the future. It's the visionary leaders who are going to be able to grab this opportunity. And I would urge friends both from the media and from industry, take this message of confidence, this positivity that the world is seeing in our country. Very often we miss the opportunity. We miss the positivity that we reflect to the rest of the world. I'm sure Professor must be seeing it all the time in his travels. And I think it's for all of us to collectively go for it. It's for all of us to collectively earn the trust and earn the goodwill of businesses across the world, just like we did during the COVID period. It's for us to showcase the changing thinking, the new way of working in India. And yesterday when we inaugurated the Vanijya Bhavan, I briefly alluded to that look at the way India has evolved in the last 8 years. I still remember a time when government procurement was all through Directorate General of Supplies and Disposal. Many of you, particularly the senior captains of industry, will recall Bhargavji was in government at that time. The DGSND. I don't think there would have been a bigger scam than the DGSND. I remember as a young boy when I had started my business, maybe 35, 38 years ago, I had also made an effort to try and register my products in the DGSND. I couldn't even enter the office of DGSND. I didn't know what the terms and conditions were. That building down and broke that organization down. We created GEM, the government e-marketplace, so that today nearly 45 lakh companies are registered in the government e-marketplace. They are able to, in a very, very transparent manner, bid for every government contract, goods and services. We've recently now decided to allow cooperatives also to benefit from that. The business, the whole concept, Prime Minister initiated about 5 or 6 years ago. Took us some time to get the government to think in that direction. We did 9,000 crore rupees of business on that 4 or 5 years ago. We did 110,000 crores of government procurement on the GEM portal last year and are targeting 2 lakh crore in the current year. Look at the changing dimension and the way of working. Completely transparent, equal opportunity for all, small scale industry, MSMEs, women entrepreneurs, physically challenged entrepreneurs, startups, all getting an equal opportunity to participate in government procurement in a transparent manner. And what do we gain? Thousands and thousands of crore of rupees of savings, which is your hard-earned money. It's the taxes that each one of you is paying to the government, for which we are responsible to efficiently use. We are not a government. Modi ji is not a person who's going to say, मैं क्या करूं? मैं तो 100 रुपए भेजता हूं गरीबों को, 85 रुपए बीच में इधर उधर हो जाते हैं, 15 रुपए गरीब को पहुंचते हैं. This is a government which found a solution to that. We brought in JAM. We brought in, and I must acknowledge the contribution of all of you from the technology space, from the banking space, for the wonderful work you all did. The Aadhaar, Jandan accounts, and the huge mobile spread across the country, the telecom revolution, collectively has helped us disperse nearly $300 billion plus. That's over 22, 23 lakh crores to the poor, to the needy, to the beneficiaries in a completely transparent, in a completely real-time manner, without any middlemen, straight to the beneficiaries. And if we were to do a math on the old way of working, acknowledged by the then Prime Minister, we would need probably what, $1.5 trillion, so that 300 billion could reach the poor. So just that is the changing way of thinking and working. We broke down all those army shacks. I don't know if any of you remember, again you would recall, because I used to go myself for often getting a checkup in the military hospital, which was run in a barrack with rain pouring in every year. And this is something that's happened for decades. Nobody ever thought that what is happening, is that good for the country? The army offices being run in barracks along that Dara Shikoh road. And all of us pass by there every day. Every Prime Minister, every Minister, every government official would just merrily pass by. Our army men were getting trained and were getting treated over there. हमने सबने सोच लिया था हमारे भाग्य में यही लिखा है, पर प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने अलग कल्पना से देश चलाने के लिए सोचा. And today those are all gone. We have nice proper buildings which are coming up, which will help house all these facilities. Central Vista and the refurbishment, the new buildings that will come up will reflect the new age, the new way of working. Probably the next time around I'll allow you to do this function in the new Vanijya Bhavan building we've just inaugurated yesterday. It will give you a flavor of the things to come, the way Indian government is going to work in the future. And it will give you a flavor of the thinking where modernity with tradition, where strength of the Indian business and the confidence of the people of 135 crore Indians will all be reflected in the work of the government, and together all of us will do what happened at Davos, will do what happened at the World Trade Organization MC12 again and again and yet again for many, many years to come. Just like at Davos, for those of you who were there, Narendran was there, you were there, India was the flavor. You saw India across the promenade. You saw states, you saw top Indian corporates, you saw the central government, everybody speaking in one language, inviting businesses from across the world, come to India, invest in India, manufacture in India, serve from India. Same spirit we saw at the MC12. I mean, it was quite an envious position to be in, frankly. It reminded me of what I had experienced being with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the 2015 COP21 Paris meetings. And I still recall when Prime Minister Modi would walk for any of the meetings or on any of the corridors of COP21, and Prakash Javadekar, me, some of us were with him through the days that he spent there. We were actually being requested by other country leaders, representatives, can you get us a 30-second pull aside? We want to click a photograph with Prime Minister Modi, of our leader. There were meetings which were held in the lounge for 4 minutes, where world leaders wanted to engage with India, to understand the India story, to understand India's position on climate. And actually Prime Minister Modi helped stitch together the final agreement, which is today almost like the defining document of the global effort to fight against climate change. India led the entire story of the developing world, the less developed countries, became the voice and helped bring our agenda on the table, helped bring focus on climate finance, low cost, long tenor finance, helped talk about technology, helped bring in sustainable lifestyle into the final document, which was never before something anybody talked about food wastage. And I think a similar story was played out in the MC12. We literally had a situation where in every intervention, India became the voice of the developing world, became the voice of the poor and vulnerable countries, became the voice of sections of society which for years and decades have not been recognized, respected, or got a raw deal. We didn't allow the Uruguay round type of discussions, the price of which countries like India are paying even today, where in agriculture a standstill was sought to be institutionalized, or rather what sought to be, has been institutionalized. And we are all stuck with 1986 level of agricultural subsidies, so that Europe can give $89 billion of subsidies, supporting barely 3-4% of their population, and we supporting 60% of our population are restricted with the Uruguay round commitments that were made by the then government. This time around, we fought for our fishermen, we fought for our farmers, we fought for food security, we fought for continuation of the MSP public stockholding process in India. We ensured that our farmers are not deprived of possible support that we are giving and wish to give in the future until they reach a level of prosperity and better future for their children. We ensured that India will be able to monitor our EEZ so that no other country can come and exploit the fish stock in our EEZ. We had an agreement on fisheries against illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing, something which most countries had thought was a written off ministerial, turned out to be one of the most successful WTO ministerials, which actually saved multilateralism. And believe me, the sense over there was that it was India's show, India is not the deal breaker, India is the deal maker. And literally when other countries were bickering over words, bickering over text, we would be the intermediary who would find a solution to every disagreement which went on for almost 36 hours non-stop towards the last 2 days. So I would dedicate that to 135 crore Indians whose strength and power was being recognized by the world. And I compliment all of you who give us that strength, who give us the ability to be able to stand any pressure, but stand with the confidence that we have your blessings and your support with us. As we embark on the Amrit Kal, as we celebrate 75 years of independence, our achievements of 75 years, and get into the next 25 years, the Amrit Kal, I am confident that with your collective energy and support, India will be a $30 trillion economy. When we celebrate India at 100, we will be moving towards prosperity for every single citizen of this country, for every person who works in this country. Let us all together collectively resolve for a bright future, for a great future for this country. As Prime Minister says, हम सबका प्रयास जब होगा, जब 135 करोड़ कदम आगे बढ़ेंगे, तभी ये देश आगे बढ़ सकता है. और एक बार जब ये देश आगे बढ़ना शुरू हो गया, चल गया, तो दुनिया की कोई ताकत हमको रोक नहीं सकती. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.